about financial literacy is increasingly recognized as a cornerstone of economic empowerment, and Zambia is no exception. Thank you for joining us on Money Matters. I'm your host, Faith Katai. Our focus today on the program is on Lusaka Securities Exchange, the country's premier platform for securities trading and investment. Beyond facilitating transactions, Luse has taken on a critical role in educating Zambians about financial management and investment opportunities. To help us understand more about Luce's role in advancing financial literacy in Zambia, my guest is in the studio is Luce's Business Development Manager, Grace Soko. Grace, welcome to Money Matters.
Thank you for having us again.
Okay, just to start with, tell us, how is Lusaka Securities Exchange contributing in advancing financial literacy across the country?
So we've engaged in quite a number of activities. We had Financial Literacy Week recently in March. We were very much engaged. We were on campus. We had on-campus activations at Mulungushi University. We were at Cavendish. We were also at UNZA. So we really managed to get a lot of our youngsters investing. We also have an ongoing financial literacy program across our social media platforms. So if you are following the Lusaka Securities Exchange on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, we're constantly posting content, just updating our market on what's going on.
Okay, so kindly highlight on the key programs or initiatives that you have as Luce to promote financial literacy in the country.
So at the moment, we are trying to broaden our scope in how far we reach with the Zambian population. We have targeted MOUs, so we've signed an MOU with Cavendish University, as well as with UNZA, that's the Business and Economics Association at UNZA. And the main idea there is, how do we get to grassroots level? How do we make sure that our students are inculcated with good financial habits even before they start working? So you will see a lot more activity happening on campus as we sign more MOUs across the country. We're also working on our own online learning platform, which we will be launching very soon, where people will be able to go to our website, enroll for the course, and they'll be able to get a crash course on how to invest, the importance of having stocks in your portfolio, and we'll be very excited to announce that when it becomes live. Of course, we're also busy with radio content. We have signed an MOU with Capital FM as well. We're working on some local language content that we'll be able to share and make investing on the Luce a lot more accessible.
Okay. As Luce, who are your main targets in terms of this sensitization on financial literacy?
Everyone with an NRC. As long as you're a Zambian citizen, even those who are outside of the country, as long as you're interested in investing, we're trying to make the journey a lot more easier for everyone. Like I mentioned, we are targeting students so that we inculcate good financial practices before they enter the workplace. We're also signing MOUs with professional associations so that even those who are already in employment can understand that investment is something that they can get into. We had our Women's Day commemoration, which was a good way of also letting women know that they're a very important part of the story. We have the annual Ring the Bell initiative, which is part of the World Stock Exchange organization. Stock exchanges all over the world do that as well on Women's Day. And like I mentioned, for rural communities, we're working on local language content. So we're really trying to cover every aspect of the Zambian citizen, whether it's students, whether it's women, those in the rural communities. We're trying to reach everybody.
Okay. So what kind of approach are you using to reach these target groups?
So this year, we have been more intentional about our digital footprint. So our social media pages have become a lot more informative as opposed to just highlighting activities that are happening. We're also trying to have more engaging content so that we understand where the information gaps are. And I think it's shown in how the uptake of our Luce mobile app has improved month on month. We're currently sitting on over 43,000 users. So that shows that at the beginning of the year, we were sitting at a little bit over 30,000. So in the space of 6 months, we've grown quite a bit. And it shows that a lot more people are getting to know what the Luce is. They're getting to know how to invest. So our digital platform is really helping us. I mentioned the aspect of community radio. We've understood as well that we can't go through just social media. So we're also trying to engage community radio stations and sign more agreements so that we can have a lot more content going out in a package that is easier for everybody to understand. Because we do understand that investing can seem complicated, but we're trying to make it as easy to understand as possible.
Okay. How are you ensuring that this financial literacy education or programs are accessible, especially for women or marginalized groups?
So on the women's side, like I mentioned, we have the Ring the Bell initiative. This year we rang the bell for gender equality. That was in March. So we had leaders from the SME space as well as from our listed companies. They came through, we had a wonderful day together, and we spoke a little bit about investments and just the everyday challenges that women face. We are planning to have a lot more platforms and events like that, and we're trying to see how to get into partnerships with other women organizations. We have another event coming up in June where we'll be speaking to some women about why money matters and how to be smart about it. Then on the rural side, our communities which may not have access to information, which is in the mainstream, we're working with community radio stations to do that. We're also trying to get into partnerships with community organizations and see how we can just package this information in an easier format for people to understand. So women, top of the agenda, both in the rural setting as well as in the formal SME sector. Yeah.
Great. Grace, is in terms of schools, you had mentioned that you are also working with
Yes.
some of the universities, yes, and or community organizations to actually integrate financial education to every
Yes.
learner. So how are you doing it?
So when it comes to the on-campus initiatives, we have some activations planned. We're trying to get into a frame of mind where students should be able to think, if I've got a 50 kwacha in my MTN or Airtel or whatever mobile wallet, what am I going to use it for? Which shares can I buy? Because it'll be interesting to note the cheapest share is 35 ingwe. So even with a 10 kwacha, you can start investing. So we're really trying to get on campus and understand and let students understand that you don't need to have a lot of money to start. You can start with what you have. And the hope is as they grow, as they enter the formal working sector, they already have a good investment culture already put into their minds. When it comes to primary schools and secondary schools, we do have schools that come through to the Luse and they visit and they take a look at what happens at the exchange. It serves a dual purpose. Number one, the financial literacy side, because we do explain to them these are some of the avenues that you can use. Of course, they're a little bit young, so unfortunately they can't invest themselves, but at least they know that these are the options available. It also serves as a very good career guidance because they'll get to see that these are some of the careers that we have. I know we're all we grew up knowing I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be an accountant. But there's so many other avenues in the financial services industry that you can get into. And it's important for students from a primary and secondary school level to know that I'm aspiring to work at the Lusaka Securities Exchange. So we're very excited to have school visits come through. They're always very interactive. We get some very interesting questions from the young people as well. And it's just a wonderful experience all around.
Great. So one would ask, Lusaka or Lusaka Stock Exchange now then, which is Lusaka Securities Exchange. So how much does one need to actually buy shares or to invest?
So our app, we've made it easier than ever. The minimum transaction amount is 10 kwacha.
Wow.
Yeah.
Only 10 kwacha?
Only 10 kwacha. Like I said, the cheapest share is 35 ingwe. Yeah.
We now go on a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. In case you have just joined us, you are watching Money Matters, a program designed to equip you with knowledge and tools to make informed financial decisions. Today on the program, we are discussing the role of Luse in advancing financial literacy in Zambia. My guest is Luse's Business Development Manager, Grace Soko. Grace, how is Luse leveraging the digital platforms, let's say the mobile apps or social media, to reach younger audiences with financial literacy content?
So that's actually a very good question. What we're trying to do is come up with a lot more engaging content. So what we've noticed is youngsters are not really interested in reading long articles with a lot of figures and a lot of information. Yes, there are a few who are interested in it, but we're really trying to get short form videos. We're trying to have a lot more, I would say, engaging content with more graphics. So if you'll notice, especially in the past 2 to 3 months, our social media has taken on a little bit of a rebrand. So we are trying to be a lot more informative, but we're also trying to have a lot more video content on there. So you may see a lot more videos of me speaking, members of our team, or other investors who are also speaking, short form videos that can also be shared on WhatsApp statuses. So we've seen that there is more engagement. We've actually seen that there are a lot more app downloads. It's also interesting to note that sometimes we can tell the trend. Like when we're coming out from a long weekend, you'll notice that there are a lot more activity happening on the app. More people are downloading, more people are creating accounts. So it's a very interesting space that we're in.
Okay. Are there any organizations that you are, apart from the schools, apart from the universities, are there any stakeholders that you're working with?
Absolutely. So we've realized that this is a journey that we can't walk alone. Obviously, we have the Securities and Exchange Commission of Zambia, which is the overall regulator. We have activities with them. We have the Capital Markets Association of Zambia as well, which is a member-based organization for all capital market operators. We've got very good linkages with them. We do have professional association MOUs as well. We recently signed an MOU with ACCA Zambia, so we have the accountants on board, and we're very excited about how to exploit that relationship. And of course, like you mentioned, the schools, the universities. So, it's a wide range.
Okay. Do you have any success stories of that would demonstrate the impact of Luse's financial literacy across the country?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned, the growth of the user base on our mobile app. We moved from a little over 30,000 at the beginning of the year. We're now sitting on a little over 43,000. And that is a very big jump in the space of 6 months. And we're hoping that the trend will continue. So that shows that at least we are penetrating the market a little bit. The latest FinScope survey also came out. Bank of Zambia shared that. I believe it was a couple of weeks ago. And we also saw the penetration levels of financial literacy going up. We have seen some listings come through. Most recently, 1 Square K, which is the first urban residential property development. They signaled their intent to list. And it just goes to show you that our education around the different types of listings that can happen is actually working. They came forward and they're going for the alternative market. So the alternative market is a separate tier. We've got the main board, which has all your big, large cap companies, and then we have the alternative market. And this one was created specifically for SMEs. Our first listing on the alternative market was .com Zambia. So .com Zambia, this was a little bit towards the end of last year, November, December period. That was the first one to come on the alternative market. Zambian business started here, grown by a Zambian national. We're very proud of the success that it has experienced so far. 1 Square K has signaled its intention to list. Once all regulatory procedures have gone through, we hope to welcome them to the Luse family, and that will be the second one on the alternative market. So we're very excited about how that market is growing. We want more SME businesses to see Luse as an opportunity. We want them to see it as a place where they can raise money. I think we can all agree that going to a traditional bank, debt is expensive, and it is crippling a lot of SMEs. So we want them to be able to say, let me come to the market. Let me have Zambians invest in Zambian businesses, and that's what we're pushing. So on that educator base, we're really hoping that we see a lot more SMEs come through. Our pipeline is growing. I think we have a lot more Zambians actually putting up their hands and saying, how do I join the party? How do I come to the Luse? So on that front, you can also see there's a success story there. Clapton Reinsurance also came to the market in March, towards the end of March, yes. And we've seen that there's a lot of investor interest as far as those shares are going. The share price is the cheapest at 35 Ingwe on the Lusaka Securities Exchange. So I really hope after this, everybody is going to go and do a little bit of research on Clapton Reinsurance. It's the first Moody's rated company that we have at the exchange. So we're excited to see that the market seems to be waking up. A lot of the information that we're putting out is hitting people's hearts and their minds, and we hope to see it grow a lot more.
Okay, how would you describe Zambia's financial literacy education?
I would say there's been a shift. Before it was very much institutional based. We would wait for Bank of Zambia to put out some pamphlets or the banks, and it was very much based on what institutions are doing. Right now we're seeing a lot more individuals coming to the fore. Social media has changed the game and how we do things. There are a lot of financial literacy educators online who are sharing information in a way that people can easily digest. And I think right now the future of financial literacy is sitting in the hands of individuals. Of course, regulators still have a role to play. Banks, formal institutions, formal players in the market have a role to play. But we need to see how to collaborate with these individuals and get the information out there.
Wonderful. As Luse, what new strategies are you planning to roll out in the next few years to deepen financial literacy and participation, especially in the capital market?
So right now we have a very interesting campaign going on to get more SMEs to list and come to the market under the alternative market. We have waived off the listing fees for the first 10 companies that come to the alternative market. .com was number 1. 1Square hopefully will be number 2, subject to all regulatory approvals. There's still 8 slots left. So we're really hoping that SMEs will come forward and consider the alternative market as a good place to raise money, because listing on the alternative market is also a very good way of legitimizing your business. It shows that when you are listed on the Lusaka Securities Exchange, you have the full confidence and the full backing of Zambian investors. This is a story that people are interested in. And you'll find that should you even need to go outside of the country, or even within the country, looking for other avenues of raising capital, you will have the backing of the Luse. You'll be able to say, I am listed on the Lusaka Securities Exchange. I'm publicly listed. The public has placed their confidence in me. I am a viable business. So we're really trying to ramp up the appetite and the energy around the alternative market. Hopefully we'll see those 8 slots filled up soon, especially in the next 2 to 3 years. We're hoping that will come through. Retail participation, we've seen a lot more younger investors coming through. We had the annual general meetings for our listed companies between March and April, and we saw that there were a lot more young people attending, asking very important questions. And for us, that's a signal that younger people want to invest. They want to be part of the Zambian economy. They want to understand what is going on. And we're very excited to see how that is going to go. So like I mentioned, the MOUs with the universities, that is our strategy. And we're really hoping that we'll see a lot more younger people investing and even starting businesses that eventually come to list. So we're very excited about that. On the community radio side, I mentioned the local language content. We really don't want people to feel left out. We recently did a campaign showing where the conversations about the stock market are happening. And when we looked at the heat map, we put the map of Zambia on it. And if you've got time, you can look through our social media and you'll see it. A lot of the conversations were happening along the line of rail. So Lusaka and the Copperbelt, essentially. The rest of the country was dark. And now that is a challenge to us as a Luse to say, how do we get Choma talking? How do we get Livingston talking? How do we get Mansa talking? How do we get all these other areas talking? So we're very excited. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but we're equal to the task.
Awesome. As we wrap up the program, what would be your closing remarks as regards to financial literacy?
What I will say is investments is no longer a secret society. There was a time where you literally needed to have somebody come and whisper in your ear and say, hey, try to buy stocks. There's the Luse. We're trying to make it mainstream. So for everybody out there, do your research. There's a lot of information. Visit our website. So our website is www.luse.co.zm, or just search for Lusaka Securities Exchange. You'll find that a lot of our listed companies are brands that you interact with every single day. We've got brands in, telco, we've got Zambia Sugar, we've got Zambeef, we've got Airtel, we've got ShopRite, to name a few. If you're interacting with these brands every single day, why are you not part of the ownership story? Become a shareholder today. Own a share in one of Zambia's leading companies. You're not restricted to just one company. You can have as many shares in as many companies. And we'll be very excited to welcome all of you as investors at the Luse, and we look forward to seeing more of you joining the community.
Grace, thank you so much for coming through to Money Matters.
Thank you.
Viewers, there you have it. It is clear that empowering citizens with the knowledge to serve, invest, and participate in the capital markets is key to building a stronger and more inclusive economy. That is all we had for you on Money Matters. My name is Faith Katai. Thank you for watching. And remember, financial literacy is the first step towards financial freedom. Goodbye.